The unoriginality of the horror genre is not helped by the fact that in the past 4 years, 3 films have been released, just all literally called Escape Room, all totally unrelated. 3 actual English language films with budgets, actors that I've heard of in 2 cases. I actually injured my throat laughing when I found the 3rd one. And if you're interested in doing the same horrifying trio of films in one sitting that I did by sitting down and watching all 3 of these back to back, then you just need a Netflix subscription and an Amazon Prime subscription, because you can find all 3 of them between those 2 services. I don't know why, but today we're going to rank all 3 because comedy and because content. It's not really content, but let's go.
What'd you get me? Escape room.
Yep.
What is that?
You're locked in a room until you solve a series of puzzles to get out. And you've only got 1 hour.
And what happens if we don't figure it out in time?
We're trapped. Forever.
Escape Room 2017 features the acting talents of nobody I've ever heard of. On his 30th birthday, Tyler receives tickets for an escape room from his girlfriend, because they're really getting a lot of traction right now, really getting quite popular. A group of 6 of them, who are the most unbearable, exclusively white group of friends in any horror movie ever, get taken in a van to the escape room, and his girlfriend takes away all their phones, and they're just thrown into this room, except for his girlfriend. She's trapped naked and alone in a cage somewhere. They deal with a few puzzles and everything's fun, but when 2 of them are randomly and brutally murdered, they realize that if you die in the game, you die for real, and they try to make it out. Of course, as it goes on, you constantly wonder if there's any reason for his girlfriend to be naked in the cage. There isn't. You start to realize that this film sucks. Here's my moment review for Escape Room. It's not that I really hated this off the bat. It's more like I immediately disliked every character and nothing ever happened to change my mind about any of them, you know? And as it goes on, and it tries to build tension and make you think about why things are like this, I came up with many better explanations for why things were the way they were and why the puzzles were like that than it actually ended up being. Although it didn't actually really end up explaining anything. It just kind of ends. Literally. It feels like they're doing this scene where, oh, things are about to kick off for a big 3rd act, big final act of some sort, something that's going to happen. And then it goes to black and you're like, oh? And then the credits roll and you're like, oh, no. And that leaves it just being just so total garbage, terrible, awful. Jesus. Like, you hate them all, but it's not this big. There's nothing to it. I'm giving Somebody's Got a Sexy Cage Kink 38 out of 100. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but I mean, that is the same score I give, I think, Seeing Double the S Club Movie. And that might not seem that bad to you, depending on how recently you've seen it, Seeing Double the S Club Movie. But, just think of it in happy ways. Yeah. No party like an S Club party. We need to move on.
No one's gonna save us.
Yes, they will. They have to.
You're gonna bet your life on that?
Not without a fight.
Escape Room 2018 features the acting talents of Skeet Ulrich from Scream and Riverdale. After buying a mysterious box with a dark past from a pawn shop where the woman literally references both the Annabelle doll and having sold somebody a fucking gremlin, Bryce uses it to spice up the escape room that he runs because they're really picking up steam and getting lots of traction right now. So 4 friends who are the most unbearable, exclusively white group of friends in any horror movie ever come to the escape room. The box turns an actor in the room into a demon or something, and he brutally murders one of them, leading the others to just try and finish the puzzle in time, because if they don't, he'll be able to reach them and kill them too.
And if you die in the game, you die for real.
Of course, yes. Meanwhile, Bryce sits on the outside and doesn't interrupt because the camera isn't working, but he daren't go in and risk angry customers, and in doing so, he makes some very angry customers. Much comedy! In case you can't tell, this is a piece of shit, with one of the worst scripts I've ever heard in recent times, but here's my moment review for Escape Room. Literally, I'm vomiting. I'm rage vomiting. It's coming out of my head in like a cloud. Can you see the cloud? I feel like I can see a hypothetical rage vomit cloud just coming out of my head right now as I try to speak about this film. It's that's it. That's my review. Oh god. There is literally a part where there's a clue and it's a rubber with "der" written on it. D-E-R, der. And I feel like it's the writers of this movie asking if we want to erase it. character. Why would you put a demon in a movie called Escape Room? It just it's so stupid. What the hell was going on with the editing? It was basically in sepia tone the whole time. I tell you. Garbage. I'm giving hypothermic vomit rage cloud shitstorm 18 out of 100.
You ever seen things that weren't there before?
I am not imagining this.
Surviving is a choice.
I want out. You let me out of here.
That's why they chose us.
Escape Room 2019 stars Deborah Ann Woll from TV's Daredevil and focuses on 6 strangers being invited to an elite escape room, and they all do it because when they arrive all excited to try and win $10,000, they quickly actually, it's not that quickly, but they eventually realize that
If you die in the game, you die for real.
and that's not all. All of the rooms are geared towards their worst fears. They get into a room and the room makes them scared and reminds them of other times they got scared, and then somebody dies, which is super scary, and then they escape and enter a new room, and thus the cycle begins anew. So what about these people going through it all? They are the most unbearable, exclusively white... Oh, they're not. Really? Because it's surprisingly easy to find a reasonably diverse group of people who you don't exclusively hate. Wow, crazy. And these rooms are well designed, interesting, and there's more than like 2 different rooms, meaning it doesn't feel static and reliant upon a poorly written script to drive the story? Well, smash my head in with a hammer hard enough that I forget those other 2 escape room movies existed. Here's my own review for Escape Room. It's actually good. Oh, it's a Christmas miracle. That's right, it might be May. But this movie is the Christmas of movies called Escape Room. Yeah, no. There's no characters I particularly hated, no absurd demon boxes that replace actually interesting puzzles, nothing but exactly what you expect in a movie called Escape Room. I think the other most important thing is that this one actually manages to be good and avoid feeling like a Saw rip. Rip Saw. They broke me, these films. So yeah, it just does what it should do. And then it ends with an obvious sequel setup. Which is a surprise, but in the way that it's not at all surprising, because of course they want a sequel. The other 2 set themselves up for sequels as well, but they were way too shit for it. I think this one's actually getting one. So that'll be vaguely interesting to see. Okay, well, not like interesting, but like I'll watch it, you know? I'm not excited for it, but I'll watch it, you know? Anyway, I'm giving just an actual Escape Room 66 out of 100. That just, you know... Just don't watch a film called Escape Room, guys. You're playing Russian roulette with your soul, because it could easily be one of the other 2, and those broke me. That is all for this one, guys. Quite simply, just don't bother. It's not worth it. It's not worth the chance of it being one of the others. Yep. But that one was fine. That last one was fine. It's getting a sequel, so fun. And if you want to see other rankings and weird-ass videos all over the channel, you just go ahead and subscribe down there. It's pretty easy. It's a button. It's just a button. Click it. Why haven't you done? Do it.